Assalamu alaikum, boys and girls. Good morning again. I'm your teacher, Mohammed Yusuf Alamgir, taking English literature class today from the text ORC. So without further ado, children, let's get on to the exercises of today's topic, which is the guest. From the same text, we have read the story first of the guest from page 56. We have found out what has happened with the characters and what was the humor at the end of the story. Now we're going to work on with some of the exercises on the back of the story, which is on page number 6060. So children will have to open up the book to page number 16 in order to follow the questions and answers we attempt. We have read about Mr. and Mrs. Webster right the night before Christmas Eve has thrown a party. In that party, people had been there and they ate, they drank, they listened to some music, and they were having a good time when the little man came. Then the little man also acted as a guest, spent the time being a guest, and at the end he tells Mr. Webster that he didn't know anybody from that party, not even the host himself, Mr. Webster. He actually came to the party to tell that one of the guests have stopped the gateway of his car, and he needed that guest to move that car away so that he and his wife could go out to meet his son. So, understanding the humor, let's work on the questions now. The first question states, children, why were there people at the Webster's house? Why were there people at the Webster's house? Mr. and Mrs. Webster threw a party Mr. and Mrs. Webster threw a party before the night of Christmas. So, people as guests came to the party. There you go, children. That's the answer of the first one. Mr. and Mrs. Webster threw, the past tense of throw, a party before the night of Christmas. People as guests came to the party. Let's try, that was number one. Let's go with number two, which says, who welcomed the guests at the front door? Who was at the front door to welcome and greet the guests? Of course, Mr. and Mrs. Webster greeted the guests at the front door. Mr. and Mrs. Webster greeted the guests at the front door. They were waiting, people were coming, and they were welcoming them warmly, cordially inside the house. Number three. What did the little man do at the party? Here comes the little man. What did he actually do when he came into the party? The little man ate, drank, and sat at the party. But that's not all. He just didn't eat, drink, and sit. He did something more too. He also chatted with the guests and spoke to Mr. Webster about the cold weather. It's a bit long because the little man came into the party and did a few things, several things. The little man ate, drank, and sat, past tense of all three, at the party. He also chatted with the guests and spoke to Mr. Webster about the cold weather. That's what he did. Let us rub off the first two and try the fourth. Well, question 4 says, where was the little man's wife? Very simple. The little man's wife was waiting in the car outside. Very simple. The little man's wife was waiting outside in the car, sitting there, waiting for her husband to come back. Let's try the last one, question 5, which says, why did the little man come to the house? Why did he actually come? Now the explaining comes in. The little man was about to visit his son's place and was blocked by one of the car of the guest in the party. We will add a little bit more to that, so let's rub the one below. Try and understand the background. The little man was about to visit his son's place and was blocked by one of the car of the guest in the party. So he came looking for the guest to ask him to move his car. Shortly, you may explain it this way. So he came looking for the guest to ask him to move his car. That's why he actually came into the party. Very funny, isn't it? The answer is quite big. Make sure that you understand it, and you may change the writing as you will. So the question answer is this, and you will be working on that in the homework copy. I'll just talk about the word meanings very shortly so that you understand them. The hard words found in the story are Christmas, we understand. It's a Christian festival when Jesus Christ's birthday is being celebrated. On the 25th December, of course. Colorful, full of color. We have lantern. It's a light, a hanging light that you can hang in a place. Carol is the song sung by people during the Christmas Eve. Welcoming means to greet cordially, warmly. Guests are visitors that come to house. Present is a gift. Present, you may gift a person with a present. Exciting means thrilling, positive excitement, or cause a feeling of happiness. Then you have invite. It's almost like when guests come in, you invite them sometimes. So you ask, or you request, or you call somebody in your house, invite. And finally we have Eve. Eve is from the word evening. It's a shortened version of evening, which is night. So the night before some special day can also be called as evening. Right? The eve before Christmas, Christmas Eve, the night before Christmas, like that. So your homework would be, children, to work out all the 5 question answers in your homework copy and learn them. And next time we'll be working on the other exercises from the topic guest. So I hope it has been useful for you. We'll meet next time in the next class. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.